my name is Hydo, and welcome to the Pantheon, where the midnight hunt continues. You know, the death and decay is just building up everywhere in my streets, but that's just England, isn't it? Anyway, on Innistrad, what have we got going on? Well, we've got a famous face. It's Gisa, Glorious Resurrector. 4 mana for a 4/4 human wizard. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. So it goes and sails off into the abyss. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all cards exiled with Gisa, Glorious Resurrector, onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed, which means a creature with Decayed can't block. When it attacks, sacrifice it at end of combat. So we get one good attack in with the creatures we get back from Gisa. But it's really cool, isn't it? You're just stealing everything from your opponent. Very, very awesome. I love stealing things. In Magic, not in real life. Who would say something like that? I know what you could say. Subscribe to my channel. Oh, look how smooth that was. If you like what you see, who doesn't? Please do subscribe. I'm going to be making videos like this for every single legendary creature in Midnight Hunt. And then beyond that, every single legendary ever. So we'll get there eventually. So come on a journey and let's have a look at my top 5 cards for Gisa. And in at number 5, what have we got? Well, we've got Haste Enablers. Crashing Drawbridge being the first one. So we get all the creatures back during our upkeep, but they have summoning sickness, because they've only just come in. So let's give them haste and let's attack with them straight away, and then they can decay, and then, we can go for another round, kill some more creatures, do it again, give them haste, attack straight away, get tons of value. And we're going to get all the enter the battlefield effects from this. So if we can attack straight away, it just doubles the amount of enter the battlefield triggers, attack triggers, absolutely everything that we're doing. So this card, it's Defender, it taps, creatures you control get haste until end of turn to 0/4. So much work. It's just incredible. Then there's Mogis' Marauder, a one-off version of this. 3 mana for a 2/2. It's the battlefield. Up to X target creatures gain Intimidate and Haste until end of turn, where X is your devotion to black. So Gisa has 2 pips. This has 1. And then, we're just going to have a little sea of creatures. So we should have some more black mana. Should be able to give haste to the majority of our creatures. Then Akroma's Memorial, another universal card here. 7 mana for a legendary artifact. Creatures you control are flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black and red. So all of that, every one of our creatures. This is also excellent protection. Say someone goes to Doomblade, our commander. Well, they can't if this has protection from black. So this is just fantastic. And the evasion, and this card just does so many different things. Really, really nice. Then, maybe there's one big creature you bring back. You bring back, I don't know, Ulamog. It's not going to be in a graveyard. What an idiot. Why am I saying such a thing? But Lightning Greaves, you can whip it to that big creature. And this can also just protect our commander from any spot removal spells, because we need to protect our commander. Because, say if a board wipe happens, damnation, we wipe the board, our creature will die, our commander, and then it'll come back maybe for whatever reason. If it is on the battlefield, it's a new instance of it and didn't see all of them and didn't exile it. So, it's important to protect our commander. But coming at number 4, well, we've got, we want our opponent's creatures to die. So let's use something like Shieldred Whispering 1, a 7 mana 6/6 creator, to sort of whittle down our opponent's creatures. Just keep getting things into exile that we can bring back. It's got Swamp Walk. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Fantastic value, just reanimating whatever you want from your graveyard. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. So they're going to whittle their creatures down. If we have our commander on the field, they're going to go to exile, and then in our upkeep, we'll get all of them back. It doesn't work for tokens, sadly, because, they can choose to sacrifice a token. But if you have enough of these effects, we're going to slowly just chip away at our opponent's creatures. Call to the Grave is another effect like this. 5 mana for an enchantment at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player sacrifices a non-zombie creature. Yes, that is us as well, but not the end of the world. At the beginning of your end step, if no creatures are on the battlefield, sacrifice Call to the Grave. It's okay. It's pretty good. It's going to whittle down our opponents and get us a ton of creatures into exile. And if we're, keeping the pressure on, our opponents won't be able to establish any sort of game plan. They'll look miserable. Brilliant. Then there's Magus of the Abyss, and you could play the Abyss if you have, ridiculous amounts of cash. 4 mana for a 4/3 human wizard. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, destroy target non-artifact creature that player controls of their choice. It can't be regenerated. So it's not sacrificed, but it destroys. It's going to, go around the table, keep killing things. And, 4 mana 4/3 isn't the worst thing in the world. Yes, it might kill itself on our upkeep, but it's better than killing our commander, I can tell you that much. Then Anawan, the Ruined Sage. 5 mana 4/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player sacrifices a non-vampire creature. So again, we could end up sacrificing our commander, so make sure you've got a couple of tokens, or just a couple of idiots, mana dorks, that thing on the floor, and then sacrifice them, and our opponents just keep whittling them down. Then a really cool one here, it's Kun. I don't know what it is. It's Ogre Ascendant. 4 black mana. At the end of turn, if 3 or more creatures were put into graveyards from play this turn, flip him. So you flip him all the way around. Not like these newfangled werewolf flip cards where you turn them over. You just rotate this bad boy. And it's a legendary enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. This is fantastic and works fantastically with all of those cards. Can really build up and build up and build up. And if you're playing against someone that doesn't play much enchantment removal, well, it might just stick around for the rest of the game, giving you tons of value. Then we got Tegrid, God of Fright. 5 mana for a 4/5, and this works fantastically with all the sacrifice we've been talking about. It's Menace. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from their graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So this is just another great way. Our commander's all about stealing stuff, and this is amazing for stealing things. And then on the rear of Tegrid, we've got her lantern, just shining lots of light on our opponents. 4 mana for a legendary artifact. Tap, target player loses 3 life unless he or she sacrifices an online opponent or discards a card. So another great way of sacrificing things, and pay 4 to untap it. So if you have, infinite mana, this is a way of killing all your opponents. So a nice win condition built into a different kind of win condition. She's just that good. Which brings me on to my number 3 pick. And at number 3, we've got Do or Die, and these cards are interesting cards that are quite cool with this commander. 2 mana for a sorcery. Separate all creatures target player controls into 2 face-up piles. So John over there, the buffoon that he is, has, created a massive board state. He's got like 8 creatures. We split them into 2 piles of 4. Destroy all creatures in the pile of that player's choice. So yes, they get to choose the best pile, but like fact or fiction, you can make it work for you. And then they're going to go into exile from our commander just for 2 mana. So we can play our commander, play this straight away, protect her, get back to our turn, and get all those creatures that were in the pile. Such a cool card to include. Then there's Plague Reaver. 3 mana for a 6/5. It's a beast, both in terms of stats and its creature type. Anyway, at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice each other creature you control. Damn, that's not very good. But you can discard 2 cards and sacrifice it. Choose target opponent. Return Plague Reaver to the battlefield under that player's control at the beginning of their next upkeep. So why is this sort of cool with this commander? Because you discard 2 cards, give it away. Then, if our commander's on the field and they choose to do that, to discard 2 cards, sacrifice it, they don't really get to give it to one of our opponents, or indeed back to us, because we can put it back into exile and then bring it back as a decayed thing and then do it again. So it's just a way of forcing our opponents to sacrifice either their entire board apart from this, or, discard some cards. It's really, really cool in the deck. Then let's talk about the Conjurer's Closet first. 5 mana for an artifact. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So the wording on this is very, very important, because usually you won't put sort of flicker effects in a black deck. The reason this is so cool is because it brings the thing that we're exiling back under our control, not its owner's control, as flicker effects usually do. So with this, we exile one of the things that have been decayed, then it comes back under our control, not decayed, so it's not going to die when we attack. And it can block. Woohoo! Wonderful. So this card just works fantastically in the deck. And if we're going to sort of be flickering a couple of things like Ravenous Chupacabra are excellent. 4 mana for a Beast Horror. It's a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent control. So we can pick the best thing on their board to destroy, and then if we've got some flicker shenanigans, keep flickering it, destroy something else, and then in our upkeep, we're going to get them all back. Absolutely fantastic. Which brings me on to my number 2 pick. And at number 2, we've got Professor's Warning. My professors warned me not to start a YouTube channel. 1 black for an instant, choose 1. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Or, and this is the mode we're interested in, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So what I was saying earlier about our commander is, if our commander dies and you give it Undying and it comes back in, it doesn't technically see everything else die. So the way that works is the original version that dies along with everything else, it exiles everything because it sees it happen. But the new version that's come back in, hasn't exiled all of those things, so it won't bring them back in. It needs to, pair up. So this does, however, work if we give it indestructible, because we destroy everything, damnation, something like that. Our commander stays on the field because it's indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. And then it will see all of them exile and then bring them all back in upkeep. So indestructibility and protecting our commander is incredibly important in this deck. So another way to do this is the Gift of Doom. 5 mana for an Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has Death Touch and indestructible. So really, really good. We can get in with our commander with Death Touch. And it won't die in combat. And Morph. So you can cast this face down for 3 mana. Then you can unmorph it by sacrificing another creature. So maybe one of the things that have been decayed is a nice sacrifice target. As it is for turn face up, you may attach it to a creature. So we can put this straight onto our commander in response to maybe our opponent's board wipe. Fantastic. And then if our creature does die, our commander does die, Fated Return is a brilliant spell to use. It's an instant, so we can do it at any point, and it's 7 mana. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains indestructible. If it's your turn, scry 2. The scry 2, who cares really, you know what I mean? But this is fantastic because, yes, if our commander sees everything and exiles everything, yes, they're exiled, but when it comes back and they decayed and die, they go back to the graveyard. So we can use it on an opponent's creature, an opponent's Ulamog or something like that. And it just works incredibly with our commander. Giving our commander indestructible is so powerful, which is why Darksteel Plate, 3 mana equipment, which has indestructible and gives indestructible and quick for 2, is also fantastic. Then a slightly different take on this is Daring Fiend Bonder. 4 mana for a 5/1 with haste and attacks each combat if able. That's something that red should be doing, in my opinion. And pay 2, exile it from your graveyard, put an indestructible count on target creature. Activate this ability only a time you can cast a sorcery. So that's rubbish, really, because you can't respond to like a removal spell or something like that. You know, you have to activate this and then your opponents go, ha, destroy. But this is fantastic. You know, all indestructible is good indestructible. Then Zeldrazi Monument, 5 mana artifact, creature control +1/+1, flying and indestructible. So that's not just our command, it's everything, which include all of the things we bring back with our decay counters and whatever on. So all of our army is going to be flying and indestructible. And then, yes, they sacrifice themselves at the end of combat. But at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. If you can't, sacrifice this. Then there's Tyrite Sanctum for just giving our commander indestructible. It's a land. I love a land that has an ability. Pay 2, tap it, target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other types, and put a 1/1 counter on it. Then put pay 4 and tap. Sacrifice Tyrant Sanctum. Put an indestructible counter on target god. So our Gisa has become godly, you know, she's ascended, and then it becomes indestructible. Really, really nice. So I've talked all about making our commander indestructible, but why don't we cut out the middleman? Yeah, we want to throw a lot of board wipes around. Why don't we just wipe the board, but not wipe our board? Dread Cacodemon is where the fun starts. 10 mana for an 8/8. The demon, and when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, destroy all creatures your opponents control, then tap all other creatures you control. That tapping of your own creatures, it doesn't honestly matter, does it? Because we're going to have a massive army coming back, and our army that's already there stays alive, and we get a massive 8/8 demon. Amazing card from the one of the original commander sets, or the original commander set. This card is fantastic in the deck. It wipes your opponent's board, ours stays clean. And then if we want a sorcery version of this, there's In Garruk's Wake. 9 mana for a sorcery, destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. So not only does it hit creatures and then we can bring all them back, but Planeswalkers could be a massive threat. So you're playing a Super Friends deck, this just sorts it out for you. Then there's Ryvita Demon. 8 mana for a demon. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, destroy all non-artifact, non-black creatures that can't be regenerated. It's a 6/6. So this is, just a good creature. All of our creatures that we're going to be putting in the deck are either going to be black or artifact anyway, so it doesn't wipe our board. Yes, if we're playing against a black deck, it's going there, creatures will survive, but we're going to end up with a 6/6 demon and tons of things coming back in our upkeep. Then there's the classic Plague Wind, 9 mana for a sorcerer, draw creatures you don't control. They can't be regenerated. It's like in Garrett's Wake, but Planeswalkers didn't exist yet. And then Kindred Dominance is a slightly different take on this, and cheaper actually, so 7 mana here for a sorcery. Choose a creature type, destroy all creatures that aren't the chosen type. So we're going to choose, human is Gisa, I believe she is. I think. I actually don't know. So we choose that. Yes, a couple of humans will survive, but it'll destroy everything else and bring them back under our control. Then we have Oblivion Stone, 3 mana, pay 4, tap, put a fate counter on target permanent. So put it on our commander. Then pay 5, tap, sacrifice it, destroy each non-land permanent without a fate counter on it. Then remove all fate counters from all permanents. So we get to keep our commander, we wipe everything else out, and then just get them back in our upkeep. And the great thing about this one is we can activate that at instant speed. So we can wait until, our last opponent's turn, see what's going on, right, wipe the board, and then straight away in our upkeep, we get everything back. Really nice. And finally, let's hate on white creatures. Virtue's Ruin is a 3 mana sorcery, destroy all white creatures. So, it's 3 mana. It goes fantastic with our commander. Say you get to 7 mana, you cast your commander, cast this straight away, put them all into exile, and in our upkeep, we're going to get them back. And those are my top 5 cards for the new Gisa. She's really, really cool. I love bringing things back from the dead, and it uses the decayed mechanic, so that's quite cool as well. So, and the decayed mechanic puts them back into the graveyard, so you can maybe mass reanimate them, bring them back. There's so many cool things you can do with this card. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye.